Hi, I'm Diane Dayton, and it's Backstage at Berks, and it is the 35th annual Boscov Berks Jazz Fest right here in Reading, Pennsylvania. Sitting down right now with pianist, keyboardist, composer Rowe. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Diane. This is really great.
It's really good to catch up with you because we want to know more about you. And I think with Berks, you've been here involved in some capacity for years, haven't you?
Yes, yeah. I was just recalling 1997 was the first time I played this festival.
Wow.
And it was great. It was with Marion Meadows, and I actually that year I played. I think we were here for 2 days.
Okay.
But I guess Marion played both days. I don't remember, but I played with Marion, and then had my own couple shows, like as the after party entertainment.
Right.
In I guess in the bar at the Lincoln Plaza Hotel.
I love that.
But it was great. We had a lot of fun. It was a blast. I remember, Victor Wooten from Bella Flex Band sat in with us.
Yeah.
And, it was, at that point, I'd been playing with Marion. I'd known Marion for years because we're both from Connecticut. And I met Marion, oh my God, when I was 20 years old.
Okay.
Back in 1983. When we were all
okay.
kind of just starting out, and then, of course, when Marion, he got his first record deal with RCA and went on tour right away. And by the time we got to Berks, he was off RCA, but he was recording for Heads Up, that was owned by Dave Love, who used to have a lot of his artists on this, on this
Absolutely,
festival.
I remember.
I think now Dave owns a winery in Texas.
Well, that's not a bad idea.
No, I know. I'm waiting for him to start having entertainment there.
I think so. Maybe you have to reach out. Well, you were starting to talk about, how things started. Let's go way back. How did music, piano, start for you? I
just always gravitated towards music. From the time I was a child.
Wow.
Loved it. Once I was, remotely aware of anything that was on the radio, my parents and family members were impressed that I was into it. So they'd buy me records all the time.
Wow.
They started buying me. I have original vinyl somewhere. It might be in my mom's house still, but of Louis Armstrong's Hello Dolly album from 1964. I hope that's around somewhere.
Have to try to go find it too.
Yeah. But and then once I got into the Beatles at a young age, it all really began from there. So I started with guitar lessons at 8 years old, but for me, guitar was just kind of confusing. And the teacher I had at the time was very much a method book kind of teacher. Like he taught me the same way he taught the kid down the street who was more interested in sports, than playing the guitar. It was like, all right, book 1, you're going to learn, by the time you get to book 3, you're playing On Top of Old Smoky, and I would have rather been playing, You Really Got Me by the Kinks or something. But like, the guy, he just wouldn't even show me like a bar chord how to go do.
Okay.
He could have taught me open E tuning.
Yeah.
And that would have been, I would have been able to figure out songs I liked.
Yeah.
By myself. So I took guitar lessons for about a year. Took maybe a year and a half off, and then going into 5th grade, when I was 10, was when I started piano lessons. And it's been, so I've been playing ever since. I can't even believe it now, because every so often, people ask me how long I've been playing, and now I'm saying, well, I've been playing the piano for 53 years. And it's like,
wow.
It's crazy.
Wow.
I never thought, I'd get to the point where I'd say that and be doing it that long, but that's how long it's been.
So what do you consider your first professional gig then?
Oh,
what was
God.
that?
Well, all right. So the first time I got paid to play music was when I was 12 at a backyard party with the first little rock band I ever played in. You know,
That's great.
and it was a funny band. It was a good little band.
Oh, I bet.
The band was called Darla's Gang.
Okay.
And it was Darla was like, well, okay, for lack of a better description, she was kind of like a guitar playing Italian version of Mama Cass.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
There you
she
go.
was great. No,
Okay.
she was great. Like you know, she had good rhythm. You know, and when you think about it, you know, for a 14-year-old kid, 13, 14, to even be able to play in a cohesive way, you know, that's kind of major. You know,
Yeah.
looking back on it.
Sure.
So that was my first gig. But fast forward 5 years later, by the time I was a junior in high school, I was playing local jazz gigs in New Haven, Connecticut, which is where I initially met Marion.
Right.
Yeah.
And that
Ron
started
Morris,
you on
all
that
those
trajectory,
people.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I had really good training the whole time I was growing up. Really thorough piano lessons that involved music theory instruction, and
Right.
I had that in high school, and I studied classical piano a little bit.
Yeah.
I wasn't a great sight reader, so I couldn't learn classical pieces quickly, but I played
Yeah.
some respected, challenging pieces, from the time I was 13 till I graduated high school.
Okay.
And then at that point, I played in some regional big bands and stuff like that, and got exposed to jazz that way.
Okay.
And then got into New England Conservatory and went there and finished up, got my degree. Some of my classmates were most notably Nelson Rangel
Yeah.
and David Mann and Rachel Z. Bruce Barth, great pianist, who played with Terrence Blanchard for
Yeah.
many years, and
Yeah.
I studied with Fred Hirsch,
Okay.
who's really, who was starting his career, had been a student in the New England Conservatory, came back and taught like 25 years old.
Wow.
Right? He came
Wow.
back and taught. In fact, a funny thing happened a few years ago with Fred. He, every year for my Smooth Jazz for Scholars show, I have a billboard up, like on I-95 North.
Yep.
Every year, right?
Yep.
So Fred saw my billboard
Yeah.
one time and sends me an email. And he says, "Hey, I saw your billboard." And he writes, "Things must be really good." He says, "I'm still teaching at the conservatory, and I'm a little bit better of a teacher than when I taught you."
Oh, that's great. Well, you brought this up, and let's tell everybody about this. Smooth Jazz for Scholars, and it's now the 23rd anniversary. So tell us about this.
So I started this in 2003.
Okay.
And at the time, I was lucky enough to be, working at the same time, juggling shows with Marion Meadows, Chieli Minucci in
Right.
special effects, and Ken Navarro. And I had a long association with Nelson Rangel
Okay.
from going to New England Conservatory together, and then playing on his first 5 releases that he
Okay.
put out.
Yep.
I wrote a number of songs for him and played on all those songs that I wrote, and so the first show, I thought, well, wow, this could really work out.
Yeah.
Because CD 101.9 was still on the air.
Sure.
So you had all that New York exposure.
Absolutely.
And so we did the first show in 2003, and it went well. It went really well. Promoting shows can be a
task.
A task, yeah. to say the
Definitely.
least.
Yeah.
But we did well, and my intent was to be able to donate like the profit from the show to my hometown music department.
Okay.
Of Milford, Connecticut.
Right.
And initially I thought, we would donate it to things that were kind of extraordinary, like visiting artists coming in. But it turned out the head of the music department at the time decided to set up, after the second year I did it, she decided to set up what they call a music department activity fund.
Okay.
And what that goes towards is when the music teachers run out of their annual stipend, because they get, I don't know, maybe $200 or $300 stipend every year for extra supplies and stuff like that, sheet music, instrument repairs, instruments. Yeah.
So this is going to be held on Friday, May 1st and Saturday, May 2nd. And once again, it's going to benefit for the city of Milford, Connecticut Public Schools Music Department.
Yeah.
And it's going to be held at the Veterans Memorial Auditorium at the Parsons Complex. So if we want to find out more, we just need to go to your website.
JRoMusic.com.
And
you can
this
buy
is
tickets online. You can book your hotel rooms if you're coming out of town.
Well, we want people too to make sure they come here to Berks Jazz Fest.
Yeah.
Let's see. Last night you were a part of the Unscripted jam with Gerald Veasley at 11:30. You're going to be doing that again tonight as well, and that's really exciting because you never know what's going to happen there. And the musicians that we have here is stellar. So you've got to come to this because it will never be repeated.
No, it won't.
The same way.
Even last night, like Gerald, I think does it that way deliberately.
Yes.
To keep the musicians on their toes, but to keep the audience on their toes too. And it's kind of like, the musicians all can sort of react to what's happening at any given time. So towards the end of it, it was fun and funny at the same time.
Well, no, you can't ask for more with that. Fun and funny and quality musicians and a good venue and hanging out with friends and making new friends too.
Absolutely. Well, I never played with Najee's drummer.
Okay,
before, right. Who's great. Najee always has a great band.
Oh, absolutely.
He's had great bands.
He was fantastic last night.
Years. Yeah, I kind of wish I saw that.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
Yeah.
So we want to encourage everybody to make sure that they come tonight. If they don't have tickets already, just go to berksjazzfest.com. And you know what, Jay? It's been really good to get to know you a little bit better. So thank you for being here, and thank you for what you're doing with music. Because it's beautiful.
Well, thank
you. It's beautiful.
Diane.
You're welcome.
We need the people like you who promote it, who expose the audience to it and keep it all going. It's all it really is a team effort.
And you know what? Here at the Berks Jazz Fest, it's a big family too. So we invite you to join us. Thanks again, Jay. And
my pleasure.
Thank you for joining us.